Once you've satisfied your hunger, get ready for more of the hottest casino games in Vegas. Our 24-hour, 30-table non-smoking poker room proudly hosts all the most popular poker games with a variety of betting limits. Visit the poker room for a schedule of daily tournaments. Whether you're going to hold 'em or fold 'em, the best place for poker is at South Point Casino. You'll notice that our craps tables are usually the loudest in the casino. If you've never played, join one of our free craps lessons to find out what makes this game so exciting. Check with the craps dealer for schedules and give it a roll. Bingo is also an exciting way to spend your time. We offer 7 sessions of bingo every day. And each session includes a cash ball jackpot, 12 bingo games, a progressive double action game, and a $10,000 bonus coverall. Electronic units are available. If you haven't played bingo with us, give it a try today. Guests can also get in on the action at our one-of-a-kind race and sports books, 2 separate rooms designed to maximize your experience and comfort. Our sports book, with over 400 seats, puts you right in the middle of the action, 24 hours a day. The friendly ticket writers are happy to help, and it's conveniently located next to the famous Del Mar Deli, where you'll find supersized portions of delicious deli items like roast beef, pastrami, and Reuben sandwiches, or soups, salads, and pizza, plus spectacular desserts fit for a king. And right next door is the race book, over 150 seats, each with its own TV screen. There are 16 interactive player terminals, so you can bet right from your seat.
Good morning. Welcome in. It is Sports by the Book here on a Thursday morning, the final Thursday of January. How are we at the end of January? How is this possible? Tomorrow's 31st. Crazy how quickly this month is already gone. Before we start, I just want to say thoughts with everyone impacted with the helicopter plane crash in Washington, D.C. last night. Thoughts with the families of ones who lost loved ones in that crash last night. Horrible, very, very sad, that crash last night in D.C. No artful way to segue to another topic, but we'll start here first. We'll have our good friend Dwayne Colucci in a few moments. He'll be up, of course, in Summerlin at the Rampart. Once his shot is ready, we will take him right away up in Summerlin. Just want to at least start here because this morning I realized I had to get my eyes checked once I walked in. I was like, oh, that's a nice looking sheet of paper. No, it's about a 10-page packet that was laid out in front of me by Vince and Ryan and Sean. It's not enough colors for Sean yet. It'll get more colorful as we go along, I'm sure. But the props are starting to populate the market here at the South Point, getting closer and closer to being all the way done here. Unbelievable job by the staff behind the counter, as always. Right now, I will tell you, I'm going to, on the show tomorrow, Ryan's just going to rattle through some that are on the bottom. There you go. Oh, that Ryan, did you bet heads? Or excuse me, Ryan's not the one who does this. Sean, have you bet heads or tails yet? No. Are you going to bet heads or tails? No. Wow. Yeah, I guess that's true. I guess that is more of a Frank bet. Even though I was going to say that, yeah, he'll probably. What do you think? Do you think Frank is a tails never fails guy? He's got to be, right? I mean. But as you can see going down the board, Ryan doing a great job getting Ryan and company getting a great job getting these all into the system. Great job by Chris's staff in the back getting these numbers up. Be fully populated with everything by the show tomorrow at 3:00. So be on the lookout for that. I will tell you one that caught my attention real quick because this actually hasn't happened the last 2 Super Bowls. If you're here at the South Point, Ryan, it's 30.99 and 3,100. And that is will the last play of the game be a quarterback rush, which of course includes the kneel down. Keep in mind the last 2 years, this did not hit on the S. Now, the S is -180 for a favorite. odds are that the final play of the game will be a quarterback kneel down. But it is interesting. It is interesting to see what bettors will do, especially, remember last year, of course, the second overtime game in Super Bowl history ended in a McCall Hardman touchdown, because of course it did. And then the year before that, Jalen Hurts attempted a Hail Mary that only reached to about the 25-yard line. So that's 2 years running. Of course, the last kneel down was the Rams Super Bowl over the Bengals. That Aaron Donald hog tie of Joe Burrow did not happen on the final play of the game. That was the last play of the game that actually meant something, more so than anything. Just looking through other things here. You know, it's interesting. Real quick, 30. I don't know if you have 3181, 3182 in there yet, Ryan. But Kansas City, who is historically awesome on their opening drive. That's good also, too. You can go with those are the, all right. Those are the Eagles numbers right there. Those are the Chiefs numbers. Okay. Regardless, check your numbers as you're making the bet. Kansas City, to score on their first, score or punt. I actually do like even money on the score. As we know, great on opening drives for Kansas City. We just need 3. Eagles minus 115 on the score, which is interesting, even though they have scored on their opening possession of all 3 playoff games so far in this postseason. All right. By the way, you want to bet the safety first? What do we got on that? I saw the guy that we're going to bring in momentarily took a nice sized whack on the Eagles earlier in the week, and there was also that big bet on there will not be a safety in the Super Bowl. Dwayne Colucci is standing by right now, and you know what? Since I'm pretty sure Dwayne hears me, DC, you got me.
I got you, Jeff.
All right, DC. All right, DC. We'll bring you in right now. Dwayne Colucci, everyone, Rampart Racing Sportsbook up in Summerlin. Dwayne, before we get to what is the packet that is available now here at the South Point, I know you got it next to you. There you go. The packet that will only be added to over the next day plus here at the South Point and up at the Rampart. Just your initial thoughts here on this game. Of course, we'll break it down next week as well, because that's what we do for 13 consecutive days with this game. But right now, you guys are sitting at 1.5 with Kansas City. You guys opened 1, you got as high as 2, and then you guys up at the Rampart took a pretty nice sized whack on Philadelphia money line.
Yeah, Jeff, initial reaction was the Chiefs, obviously, when we moved the game from 1.5 to 2. Then I took a nice size wager on the money line on the Eagles, and a very difficult game once again to handicap. I could envision this being very close to the Chief-Buffalo matchup that we just witnessed this past Sunday. And, the Chiefs, they got the job done again, despite what everybody feels, what everybody throws out there. Patrick Mahomes always has his team in a position to win, and that's what the major factor is. Andy Reid, just a fabulous head coach and one of the best ever. Obviously, his accomplishments with the Philadelphia Eagles prior to coming over to the Chiefs. And, just unbelievable how he was able to go mainstream, win all these titles. And I obviously could see the public backing the Chiefs in this situation, but a lot of people are waiting for them to lose as well, Jeff. And this is a prime opportunity. I mean, the Eagles looked so good last week. They dominated the Commanders, and the Commanders played a very good game outside of their defense and a few mistakes and costly turnovers. But, just a fabulous Eagle team. Jalen Hurts probably had his best game of the year, which is definitely a great measuring stick to go into this massive, big game. And definitely Saquon Barkley, we can't speak enough about this guy. He's looking for his first title. He turned his whole career around in less than, 10 weeks. You could obviously see what he was going to bring to the table for this Eagle team. And, he's he's definitely playing with a chip on his shoulder. They have running backs that could complement him. They have a great passing attack as long as A.J. Brown and Hurts are on the same page. Obviously, Sirianni, he's still making some of his questionable calls here and there, but he's coaching fabulously as well. And, this team is on the same page. So this is a great, great big game matchup. And, what we wanted as bookmakers from a handle perspective, you definitely wanted to see, despite what anybody felt, either Patrick Mahomes or Lamar Jackson in the big game playing against the Eagles. And, a lot of people perceive this would be the big game Super Bowl going into, the regular season even. Tons of futures on the Kansas City Chiefs as always. Although the 49ers were the favorite, the Eagles definitely took a lot of, future wagers in the market just because of the fact of the division they were in. And the Commanders were a pleasant surprise, able to push them to the brink. But we know what the NFC East was going to be about, and we definitely had those odds adjustments in place prior to the season for the Eagles, Jeff. So this is a great, great matchup. Initial reaction was to pound the Chiefs, get it up to 2, but then the buyback has been there. So we're sitting at 1.5. Great two-way action thus far, but the betting is in its infancy.
It's the matchup, at least to me, I thought that from the majority of the year, there were times where Detroit was number one in my rankings. There was a small period of time where Buffalo, I think it was only 2 weeks, where Buffalo went in front of Kansas City on my rankings for the AFC. But by the end, with all the injuries on Detroit and all that, we got the two best teams, Dwayne. I really do feel like we got that. These two teams played an instant classic 2 years ago where Kansas City won by a field goal late. But Dwayne, I just have to imagine that the action on this game, and you just said it, we're in the infancy stage of the action here. It's the Thursday before the game. So we still have basically a whole 10 days. And Dwayne, look, who knows if we'll see records broken or not, but the action on this will be, as usual for the Super Bowl, other than the first 2 days of March Madness, the biggest day of the year for you guys.
Yeah, without a doubt. I mean, nothing compares to this, Jeff. And, it's an incredible feeling for these 2 weeks. And I'm glad that they have that week off in between. It lets everybody get settled, re-handicap, readjust, and come out firing. That's why we try to get these props up as quick as possible. And Chris, he just does a fabulous job over there. Jimmy, Vinny, unbelievable crew that the South Point has. And, to formulate all these propositions in the battle room is just, it's a difficult job. And it definitely, us as bookmakers, we have our work cut out for us because there's people that focus in on certain aspects of the NFL game, and that's all they focus in on. So if we slip up and make a poor line, definitely you're going to have sharps that are coming in and looking to pound us lights out. You saw, obviously, we took a huge wager on the safety proposition, and we put that up very, very early. And, they were chomping at the bit immediately. So, we definitely have to make the adjustments quickly and concisely, putting up tons of player props, players to score the first touchdown, players to score the last touchdown, MVP, over-under totals on these quarterbacks, all different aspects, field goals, longest field goal. Everybody loves to dabble in this big game and all the propositions, and it's so much fun and definitely our highest handle and volume of the year, without a doubt, other than, like you touched upon, the only thing that comes close are those first 2 days of March Madness, and you have so many games that just roll over and overlap. And, that's a very fun time of the season as well, but nothing compares to the Super Bowl in Las Vegas, especially.
Oh, those first 2 days of the tournament, boy, that's as soon as the Super Bowl ends, you look forward to that. It's like, all right, let's just get to those days in March. Which again, if you're going to come to Vegas, look, there's never a bad time.
I've been making Jeff room reservations from like October and November for March Madness.
100%.
People contacted me.
Look, like I said, Dwayne, there's never a bad time to come to Vegas, but that first weekend in the NCAA tournament, boy, as great as the Super Bowl is, and you should come to Vegas anyway to watch the Super Bowl and bet the Super Bowl. But boy, those first few days of March Madness, unbelievable. Wherever you maybe watch, especially here at the South Point or up at the Rampart with our friend Dwayne. Dwayne, I just want to go through at least your early thoughts here, just like you went through, like basically the Eagles' path. The Chiefs, obviously, look, they're looking to become the first team to win 3 straight Super Bowls. They are the first team to win 2 straight Super Bowls and then even make it back to a third. Forget the winning part. No no back-to-back champion has even gotten to the Super Bowl to attempt a three-peat. I'm just in the camp that I have a very hard time betting against Kansas City until proven otherwise at this point. And look, if the fringe on social media wants to say, oh, this stuff, blah, 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 it's all predetermined, sure. Why don't you have a house the size of the White House at this point if it's all predetermined? Just keep betting the Chiefs. Just keep betting them. But Mahomes is the NFL's version of modern-day Michael Jordan, and as good as the Eagles are, I just have a hard time seeing Philadelphia winning this game unless Saquon Barkley just dominates the game in a fashion that we have seen at times this year, but on the biggest stage at that there is.
Yeah, it's like night and day. All of a sudden, the Chiefs are covering games, right, Jeff?
Right,
I mean,
2 in a row.
Yeah. The regular season, they couldn't cover a game. Everybody, this isn't the Chiefs' year. And you don't have that factor of the Jerry Jones factor of firing Jimmy Johnson prior to winning 3 in a row and hiring Barry Switzer. You have the same coach. So, yeah, this is the best chance. The first team in a long time that's made it to 3 straight Super Bowls. I mean, the Cowboys failed in the championship against Frisco that year. But, Jeff, there's no fault what they bring to the table. I mean, you look at this sheet, and Kareem Hunt had a fabulous game the other day, and people don't even realize that he's on their roster. You think of Pacheco, you think of all these guys, and you don't realize that you also have a power back there and a defense that definitely, in the opportune times did shut Josh Allen down. So, no fault on you liking the Chiefs. It's so tough to beat them at this time of the year. You have the Swifty factor, you have the Mahomes factor, you have the Kelsey factor, you have the Reed factor, you have all the acquisitions that they made in the season to solidify this team. And, their division was ultra tough this year when you look at how the Chargers performed, how Denver performed with a rookie quarterback. So this was no cakewalk, and you went through Buffalo once again. So, I find it very hard, like you said. I actually think the NFC had a down year, and once Detroit showed that they had no defense, Jeff. Yeah, definitely. I mean, there was no Cowboys even to play in the playoffs. There were no 49ers. I mean, Green Bay was flawed going into the playoffs. You knew Minnesota with Sam Darnold was So, this was definitely a down year for the NFC, and actually an up year for the AFC with Pittsburgh playing so well and a few of the other teams that I mentioned in the West. So, yeah, it's tough to bet against Mahomes at this time of the year. Chiefs are stoked, ready to go for this game. They're going to be ultra prepared. If anything, the pressure is all on Sirianni and doing a better coaching job than he has in the past in some of these big games. So, yeah, I definitely could see you liking the Chiefs. I think we're going to get a plethora of public money on the Chiefs as we get closer to game time and as people commute, to Las Vegas for the big game. Also, it's indoors. That definitely it doesn't really favor a team when you're playing in New Orleans. So, this is going to be a superb matchup, but I could easily see the Chiefs coming out on top once again. They always have the ball late in the game. Let's keep that in mind. They always know how to play the clock much better than their opponent, which is a credit to Reed and the coaching staff. And, you do have the best quarterback, big money quarterback in the game right now, similar to, like you said, Tom Brady of the past and Joe Montana and those lineage of greats. And Mahomes is right there. I don't care about him tripping out of bounds when he takes a late hit. You're supposed to do that. It's a little different in the NBA when you're playing play-by-play and LeBron's doing that 15, 20 times a game. Mahomes gets scrutinized. You get hit late. You're going to definitely try and elevate your body out of bounds to make it look like you were hit more severe. Some of the other calls, well, that's on the referees and the NFL to correct that. I'm sure you'll see some rule changes once again in the offseason. You're going to see some, video replay changes as well. But all that on the table, Kansas City is the best team in the NFL. They've been the best team in the NFL for many years right now, and it's going to take a lot to dethrone the champion. I mean, in the words of the great Ric Flair, in order to beat a man, you got to beat the man. So let's see what Jalen Hurts brings to the table and his offense with AJ and Saquon and those boys.
Cash the Ric Flair mention this morning, guys. Cash that. That's a nice little ticket here this morning. But Dwayne, it just this game, like I said, we got the two best teams. I can't wait. I think we're going to get a close game. I don't know. Could we get this game to land one in the middle? Possibly, but I doubt it.
We've had enough middles this year, Jeff.
Oh, trust me. Look, Vinny's not even here. Dwayne, Vinny's not even in here, and Vinny's probably staring daggers at me right now, wherever he may be.
Enough.
But Dwayne, I just want to ask you, with all these props now, and there's going to be even more added over the next day plus here, but how much at your shop, and I'll ask the same question of Chris and Vinny for South Point Pacific, even though you guys are all the same numbers, but how much of the action ends up being prop related up at your shop, Dwayne, or just based off the clientele, is it more of a traditional sense betting from your clientele in this game?
Well, the clientele's here at the Rampart and South Point. We do have some large, wagers across the counter. We always promote that. Plus, you have to take into consideration, we have the minus 105 VIG special there, Jeff. So when you're coming into my property or to Chris's property, it's just the best deal in town. So you're going to get the larger wagers on the sides just because we have that 105 vigorish. Like you saw, I took that massive money line bet as well. So, definitely that equates into the balance. But if you're talking about ticket count, you're going to have more ticket count on the props just because there's so many of them. And I have a lot of base consumers where an older clientele of, men and women that just love to come in and enjoy the game. So, they're going to bet their 5, 10s, 20s, sometimes on the first player to score a touchdown, even parlay cards we're going to have for that day. So, we definitely have a tremendous handle on these propositions. The money may be higher on the sides itself, but the ticket count is always going to favor the propositions, and especially when you have 17 to 18 pages like my property provides and several others in town. And, that's why it's a scramble to get them up as quick as possible, because we want to get as much handle on this game that we can. It is the focal point of our year as bookmakers, and, it starts the year off tremendously with the Super Bowl and rolling into March Madness, so the ticket count is going to be immense on the propositions. The money sometimes will outweigh on the sides just because of the fact that we take sizable wagers. A couple of years back, we had a six-figure wager, 100,000. As you could see, 50,000 wagers flowed in. But you also have the 22,000s on the safety and stuff like that. So it's become very close just because we've added so many propositions. And when you add cross-sport propositions and the younger crowd, Jeff, loves the propositions, the player props. That's what they're looking for. It was so, you go back, you could ask Jimmy, it was the best. You go back 25 to 30, 40 years ago, it was so vanilla. And then you had the fridge proposition pop up. And then all of a sudden props became, hey, look, we could put this up and maybe somebody will bet on it. And, us bookmakers started to expand our imagination and definitely create more and more props. And, that's why it's great to see how Vegas evolved. And now you have gambling all over the United States. So you have these other bookmakers just putting out algorithms and, whatever they want, computerized. But we do the sweet science here at the Rampart and South Point. Definitely, I know Chris has everybody with their, butts and elbows, face buried into all the stats and definitely creating the propositions with the best lines possible. So, yeah, it's almost even at this point, Jeff. You can understand that, but we take those big wages, so sometimes the money on the sides will outweigh the proposition money.
Plenty of time to bet this game, guys. We just whatever you do, don't get in line too close to the 3:30 kick on Super Bowl Sunday. Please, you have 2 weeks to bet this game. By tomorrow, all the props will be up. Just get your bets in early and relax and like, all right, you know what? I'll have my Coors or my Bud or whatever, or Miller or whatever domestic beer in my hand by 3:00 on Super Bowl Sunday, and just relax and watch the people.
And sign up for your mobile apps this week.
Yes.
Do me a favor, please, guys. If you need a mobile app at the Rampart, come and see me this week. Beautiful weekend. We'll have everything wide open. We'll sign you up real quick. Please do not come in on Saturday evening or Sunday morning and look for a mobile application, please.
Dwayne, I didn't even think of that, because usually that's Vinny and Chris. Vinny and Chris always bring that up on the Thursday that starts the NCAA tournament. Don't do that either on that day. Come into town on Wednesday morning and do it all on Wednesday before 1:00. Plenty of time to do that. Dwayne, I want to ask you something that's a little bit off topic, because it popped up yesterday, and my brain just went to, well, what are the gambling implications of this happen? We've seen a lot of rule changes in baseball over the years. And look, other than that, the only real change is, all right, regular season totals are a little bit different now because of the ghost runner and extra innings. It's sometimes those unders can get hacked away. Adam Silver, it's been floating around the last day plus. Adam Silver is saying he's in favor of moving the NBA games to 40 minutes, 10-minute quarters as opposed to the 12-minute quarters. First off, on the surface, I think the idea is ridiculous. You're the NBA. I don't care that everyone else does 40-minute games. You're the best league in the world. The game should be longer. But what would this do for betting implications here? This would totally change totals. And in all honesty, I think it would kind of take out some fun in-game betting wise, because the ability to come back with 8 less minutes would not be there as much for teams where a lot of people bet big dogs in game that end up covering because teams stop playing the last 6 minutes of the game.
Yeah, you know what this is, Jeff? This is just, how a shame how sports has become, that it's all about money. Because what this is Silva pushing the panic button because he has no viewership right now. A lot of people have turned off to the NBA. A lot of people also, I look on social media, what do they want LeBron to play forever? So we'll limit the minutes on the game so his career could last. And, it definitely takes away from the game itself. Baseball, they implemented a pitch clock. They didn't start shaving off innings. They didn't do anything, really, really drastic. And that was a game where, if you watch the Red Sox and the Yankees on a Sunday night, it was taking 5-6 hours. So, to put the guy on second base in extra innings, there's no fault in that. They made some positive changes, whereas the NBA is struggling right now. And I don't think that, screwing with the integrity and the rules of the game is going to make it any better of a product. We would definitely have to adjust totals. I tell you one team it would favor are my Knicks, because we have no bench and Thibodeau loves to play his starters. So the Knicks would be chomping at the bit for that. But, in all fairness and jokes aside, I don't think screwing with the integrity of the NBA, is anything to move forward with. You already have a 24-second shot clock. The points are just coming because the kids aren't playing defense, Jeff. That's what it comes down to. You're seeing 140 points by OKC, the Knicks, Denver. They put up these gaudy amounts because there's no defense. They're letting guys shoot from the three-point line wide open. It's a different era. Everybody practices the three-point shot now. It used to be, could I ever dunk? Could I ever get my ankle weights on and, try to dunk? Now it's just Steph Curry, pretty three-pointers, Trae Young, the smaller NBA version, run and gun. And it definitely would hurt the game, in my opinion. You have to remarket the game. You have to get some faces of the game out there, make it fun, make it more entertaining. That's what Adam Silva has to focus on, as opposed to adjusting the rules of the game. Maybe you push the three-point line back. That could be an option, but you don't want to start shaving 8 minutes off the game. Make it more difficult. Add a 4-point shot or something even. Everybody loves scoring. It was back in the, back in the baseball day where chicks dig the long ball, and that was steroids that were creating that. And you had poor Tom Glavine and Maddox doing a commercial about it, and those guys were keeping the ball in the park. So, market it a little differently. You have to start to phase LeBron out now. The LeBron James era is over. You have Wemby, you have some the Joker, you have fabulous talent out there. John Morant, he seems to have cleaned his act up. Let's start to promote these guys. Let's start to move it forward and thrive off of the product you currently have. That's the way you market it. It would definitely be a chore on bookmakers as opposed with total betting and player propositions, because you'd have to take into consideration that you're playing 8 minutes less, but then you'll have starters mostly playing full games. So, there's so many different options, but I don't think this is the way to go. I think it's a panic button maneuver. I think that Silver is worried because now the NFL plays on Christmas Day. That hurts the Christmas revenue. So he's just thinking outside the box, but not thinking in the right ways.
Yeah, no, I would be floored if it happened. For one, be floored if it happened. But two, look, you know how you want to shorten your I'm going to sound so old here for a second, but it's okay. You want to shorten your games? How about you don't go to the monitor every 5 seconds in the last 2 minutes of the game? That's And I love college basketball, but every single close college basketball game now, they're going to the monitor just check the clock. All right. You know what? Yes, I understand every tenth of a second matters, but you know what? We weren't doing this 5 years ago. It's stupid. It just elongates the process for no apparent reason. But look, for the NBA, there's plenty of problems right now, and there are too many. Every team plays the same style. There's nothing unique right now. That's really the crux of the issue, more so than anything. And quite frankly, the team that won the title is the least interesting team I can ever remember. They're not interesting at all. Celtics are not. Don't tell anyone from Boston that, but they're not interesting. That's part of the reason that everyone has tuned away more so than anything. He's Dwayne Colucci, NYBookie Dwayne on the tweets. Race and Sportsbook Director up at the Rampart in Summerlin. Dwayne, we will see you again next Thursday. We'll see where everyone's betting these props up and down the ladder next week.
Sounds great, Jeff. Thanks for having me on. And get your props in, get your everything in. I mean, this is Super Bowl. This is the greatest time of the year in Las Vegas. Come out to the Rampart, come out to the South Point and join us. Great time of the year. Thank you again, Jeff.
Thank you, Dwayne. Always a pleasure. All right, we'll take a quick break. When we get back, college hoops I like today, some hockey, and maybe an early prop or two. When we get back, Sports by the Book here at the South Point studio.
We have 11 amazing restaurants featuring a wide variety for every price range and appetite. South Point's Garden Buffet has something for everyone at unbeatable prices. Or, if hunger strikes in the middle of the night, join us at Coronado Cafe. The American menu offers breakfast, lunch, or dinner 24 hours a day, plus a Chinese kitchen for authentic Chinese dishes from 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. From steak and eggs to wonton soup, it's fast and friendly service 24/7. When you need a quick pick-me-up, you can find it at our state-of-the-art Starbucks just inside the main South Point entrance. Order ahead with the Starbucks app for easy mobile order pickups. Or enjoy your favorites in the relaxing dining area anytime, day or night. If you love Mexican food, Baja Miguel's has all of your south of the border favorites. There are dozens of classics to choose from, like fajitas, ceviche, chimichangas, tacos, and more. And for spirit lovers, Baja's colorful non-smoking tequila bar is right outside.
Welcome back in at Sports by the Book here on a Thursday morning. Jeff Parles. Big thanks to our guy, Dwayne Colucci. There we go. Good job, everybody. We are going to go into college hoops here. We got a bunch of games that I'm looking at here today, and we're going to start in the CAA. Blue Hens and Tigers. There we go. Bust out of there. There we go. Here we go. Not getting drained by basketballs today, or drowned by basketball games there, Ryan. Not happening. All right. Ton of games on Saturday, as we know, but this is a nice card here on Thursday. A lot of these teams will flip around and play on Saturday. All right, let's go to Delaware first. Ready? Blue Hens, Tigers, Towson, Delaware. We were right going against Delaware over the weekend. We were on Drexel on Saturday, and that got there pretty easily. And now we're coming the other way. Towson is on a 6-game winning streak coming into this game, playing some great ball right now. But this is a great time to go against them. On the road, second game of a road trip. They played Monday in Boston. They came back to Maryland after that game, but now going back a little north up to Newark, Delaware, at the Carpenter Center and home of the Blue Hens. Blue Hens, if you look at their home road splits this year, in conference, they've not lost at home yet. Now, 2 of those games are against 2 teams that are really not any good. Monmouth, who's barely top 300, and Stony Brook, who's doing 337th right now. Seawolves have it bad at the moment. But they did beat Elon 2 weekends ago. Elon's one of the better teams in this league. We're going to take the plus 120 on the money line, plus 2.5, whatever you're more comfortable with. I think Delaware wins this game outright. The big question, as always, with Delaware games is they are horrific on defense. They're bottom 30 on defense. So will their scoring be able to keep up in this game with their lackadaisical defense. The one good thing in this game is that Towson is not efficient on offense. The one concern here, we talked about it over the weekend. Delaware wants to speed it up. Drexel in that game wanted to slow it down. Drexel style won. Towson is one of the slowest teams in the entire country. And that is actually, I'm kind of shortchanging them on that. They're 351st out of 364 in tempo. Slow tempo. Delaware is 46, so top 50 in tempo on Ken Palm. But we'll take the home team. I think the home team style is the one that wins out here. We'll take Delaware. All right, let's go to the game that was on the thumbnail. Penn State against Ohio State, and this number has moved the way that I thought it would. So we're now kind of at the point where I don't know if I would bet this anymore. I like Penn State sub 3. I don't love them north of 3 here. Buckeyes really put it on Iowa earlier in the week. Penn State had a gut punch loss against Michigan on Monday. A game they were up by 7 with 3.5 minutes to go, and they lost in regulation. Gut punch. Penn State, I think Penn State's a quality tournament team. The problem that they have, they're stacking up losses. They got to start winning some games. Buckeyes, they're going to go to the tournament. I don't really love this Buckeye team. I don't really love them. But, I mean, look, both these teams already have 8 losses. It's hard to make the tournament when you're stacking up 13, 14 losses. And when you're in the Big Ten and playing 20 conference games and you're halfway home, you could end up in that area. But I like Penn State, not as much now that we're north of 3. See if this comes back down, but I would be shocked if this thing comes back down over the next few hours. I think we're probably going to see more likely to see 4 on Penn State than we are to see 3 again on the Nittany Lions. All right, let's go to I want to go to Booze Creek, North Carolina, the home of the Campbell Fighting Camels. There we go. Market moved against me in this one. I actually like the dog at home. So I thought Campbell was good at a pick. Now I definitely think they're good at plus 125 on the money line. Now, they've won 3 in a row. The Camels, they're 5-3 in CAA play. They don't do anything particularly great, which is always a good sign, right? That's always a good sign for betting on a team, right? But I think this is a good spot to go against William and Mary again. Where William and Mary, by the way, you know, William and Mary's never made an NCAA tournament. On track to potentially make their first one ever. This is total dichotomy. They play obscenely fast. They are very good on offense. They are horrendous on defense. Now, the big question mark in this game for the Camels of Campbell of will their 375th three-point shooting offense be able to make some threes in this game? If they can make some threes, this is a good spot to go with them. Now, yeah, I understand they've won 3 in a row. When the competition has gone up this year in the CAA, they have struggled. All 3 of their conference losses have been against the hierarchy, the higher portion of the league. They lost to UNC Wilmington. They lost to Charleston. They lost to Elon. To me, those are 3 of the 4 best teams in this league. And this is team number 4 they play today in William and Mary. But I'm going to go with Campbell. I think they should be able also to slow William and Mary's tempo a little bit. Campbell makes you work on offense. 357th in average time of possession against. So they make you work on offense. They make William and Mary work. I think this is a good spot for Campbell to pull an outright upset here at home. We're liking the dogs here today. What's up with that? All these underdogs here so far. You okay over there? Bless you, Sean. All right, let's go. I wish everyone could have heard that the way that I heard that purely here in the studio from Sean. It was a mix of a mock dog bark and a sneeze from our guy, Sean. Actually, Ryan, do we have the functional mic here? Might be able to? No, that was not that sounded like Cardman doing a dog imitation there, more so than anything. All right, we'll keep it in the CAA. Elon and Hofstra. So Hofstra, I thought Hofstra was going to be better than they are now. Look, they're still in the top 200 at Ken Palm. They're right in the smack dab in the middle of the country. Excuse me. They are better at home than they are on the road. And they're on the road here against one of the better teams in the conference. On the road in conference play, their only win is in Boston against Northeastern. They lost to Towson. They lost to Drexel. They lost to non-con to Quinnipiac. Obviously, look, who cares that they lost on the road to Florida State and Houston? Those teams, obviously, Houston number one in KenPom. I don't have them number one. KenPom does. And Florida State's still a reasonable basketball team. Now you're going on the road to Elon, who's coming off of getting pretty well handled at home by Charleston. A little disappointed in the Phoenix in that game. I liked them in that game, and Charleston won pretty handily. But we'll lay it with the Phoenix here at home. Just when it's all said and done here, Hofstra's offense is the problem here in this game. Hofstra's a top 60 defense, but they're in the 300s, 306 to be exact, under 100 points per 100 possessions. Brutal offensive rating for the Pride. They had a reasonable offense. Hofstra, I think, would be an NCAA tournament potential team in this CAA, but their offense is just brutal. So we'll lay with Elon here at home because I think Hofstra will struggle to really score in this game. All right, let's go Battle of the Dakotas. Always a fun time. Jackrabbits and Bison in Fargo here tonight. Two very good teams. And we got to appreciate our smaller conference brethren here. If you look at the Summit League, it's funny. Right now, St. Thomas is 7-1. How about the Tommies? I'm not even sure if the Tommies are eligible, actually, for the NCAA tournament this year or not. I have to double check that. But to me and to KenPom, the two best teams in this conference are playing each other tonight in Fargo. So this is a very simple handicap for me. I'm taking the better team at home to me. Now, North Dakota State is terrible on defense. Terrible on defense. But they're legitimately a top 35 offense in the country. South Dakota State is more balanced, but they don't do either side of the ball as well as North Dakota State does their offense. Now, could South Dakota State win this game because North Dakota State's mediocre defense, or actually, that's unfair to the word mediocre, their bad defense failed them in this game? Of course. But we're going to lay 3 with North Dakota State at home because that offense does not have to travel, and I like them at home in this game. We'll lay the 3 with North Dakota State. All right, let's go to the Illini next. 3.5 on the road in Nebraska. This is getting the desperation point for the Huskers. They've lost 6 in a row after the win against UCLA the first Saturday of the calendar year. And they've lost to Iowa, Rutgers, they have a few losses in there they shouldn't have taken. All right, you lose to Purdue at Mackey, fine. You lose on the road to Maryland when Maryland's been great at home, fine. You lose in the Kohl Center, fine. Losing by 28 is not good, but losing at Wisconsin, not a train wreck. This is a desperation spot for Nebraska, which is part of the reason that I don't think this number is higher than it is right now. Now, it was at 4.5, and the bettors took it down. I thought this could have been 4.5 pretty easily. But we're going to stay off of this because of just the desperation spot for Nebraska. The number is known in the market. That's part of the reason this number is not 4.5 and was bet off of it when it got there. But this is a tough one here for me tonight. We're going to stay off. We're going to see in game. We're going to see how Nebraska looks in this game tonight before going with anything in this game. But Illinois is really good. Just for the Big Ten, I think there's 2 teams that are capable of making deep runs in March. Michigan State is a Final Four caliber team. This is the best team Izzo's had in a while. And Illinois, I think they're capable too. But again, I don't see any true, other than those 2, I don't see any real title contenders. I think Michigan's a solid team, but I don't think they're a title contender. Same with Purdue. Maryland is terrible. Not terrible, but Maryland is not the same team away from College Park than they are at home. Put them on a neutral, they're not really that good. UCLA, Wisconsin, Oregon, I think are all second weekend caliber teams, but not much more than that out of the Big Ten. I think, again, Michigan State and Illinois are the 2 that could make a run to the final weekend of the tournament. All right. You want some Mastodons here? The Mastodons at IPFW and the Vikings. This is, by the way, Mastodons and Vikings, Cleveland State IPFW. Isn't that an elite mascot matchup? Hey, my goodness. Actually, also time sensitive too, right? With Mastodons and Vikings, we almost get the same time error on that. Almost. Cleveland State's won 12 straight games. That's the fourth longest win streak in the country, dating back to when they lost to Milwaukee back on December the 5th. So they have now lost in almost 2 months' time now. Pretty impressive streak that Danielle Robinson's team is on. But they're running into a Mastodon team that, again, this is the theme of the day today. I'm okay with taking teams with bad defenses at home. Don't love taking them on the road. The Mastodons are a top 60 offense, and they're at home. They've also played pretty darn good basketball as well as late. Their only loss over the last 3 weeks was that loss at Oakland, and Oakland's a solid team under Greg Campy, who we know. But we're going to lay we're getting to the end of the road here. You can still lay the 5 with IPFW. I would not go higher than that. Liked it last night at 4, but I would be very careful going north of 5 here. That offense still should be able to win the day here with the Mastodons at home. We'll lay the 5 with IPFW. Memphis and Tulane I just want to bring this up because how much do we trust Memphis? They're clearly an NCAA tournament quality team, clearly a potential second weekend team with all that talent, made it to the final with Maui before losing to Auburn. Tulane has been better after a horrible non-con where they went underwater. They were 6-7 in non-con, and then they're 5-2 here in the American. Much better. Boy, this is right on the cusp of being able to lay it with Memphis, but not quite there. It was 7 last night, down to 6. Tough spot, I think, though, for Memphis on the road. All right, to the Big West next. This is a conference that is really good, actually. Irvine, UC San Diego, and these two teams that are playing here, I think, are all, if they were to win the league, and Riverside, too, we'll throw the Highlanders in there as well. All those teams, if they win the Big West tournament here in the Vegas area, that's in Henderson at, what is that, the Lease Family Forum now? Yeah, that tournament's there. All those teams are capable of winning a game in the NCAA tournament. And quite frankly, Irvine and UC San Diego are capable of winning 2. They're capable of making a second weekend. Last night, I liked Santa Barbara pick, and I did bet that last night because I assumed the move would come on the home team, and it has. I would be very careful now. Now, let's see if this comes back at all here today. It could, but I was surprised when this opened pick last night. And the market has betted accordingly on the Gauchos at home. Home court matters in this game. You look statistically wise, they are dead even teams, but I think the home court matters, and I think it is probably worth 2 points, 2.5 points there in Santa Barbara. So you can lay it if you want, but be careful. You could add pick last night. I liked it a lot more at pick on UC Santa Barbara. All right, UCLA and Oregon. Bruins are 4.5 at home. First matchup between these teams, UCLA went up to Eugene and beat Oregon on a buzzer beater 3. I think we're getting to the point where this is too high. The 5 that was available earlier today was good. If it gets back to 5, I would take it with the Ducks. I think this is a tight game. UCLA probably finds a way to win, but UCLA has been so much better since Cronin went on his rampage against this team and the Big Ten scheduling. Been much better since that loss to Rutgers. Winners of 4 in a row. I don't think it's a coincidence that they haven't had to leave the West Coast since they've gotten better either. This is the first of 3 straight home games against good teams. Oregon, Michigan State. Michigan State next Tuesday is an awesome game at Pauley. And then Penn State as well on February the 8th. Really looking forward to that stretch for UCLA. Those are good games coming up at Pauley Pavilion. If it gets 5, we'll take Oregon, though, on that front. All right, let's shift over to hockey before we get out of here today. In the chat, Jerry Vince, right, all in there. Sean Higgs on the Vikings. Okay, all right, Sean, going oppo here. Our good guy, the Jersey man himself, who in the Lone Star State now. All right, let's go to hockey here, guys. Let's go to the Jets and the Bruins. So this is one. Oh, this is fancy. This is see, I don't. When Alex and Kenny talk hockey, it has more of an impact than when I'm talking hockey. I'm just the bloviator about the ice, I would say, right? More so than anything. Winnipeg open $1.30 now, $1.40. The Bruins are so pedestrian. Isn't it weird to see the Bruins be this average? They're so average. Now, I still think they'll make the playoffs because thankfully for their sake, everyone else around them is pretty average as well. Once you get past Florida, Carolina, I know Washington's going to have the 1 seed in the East, but I still don't buy them postseason-wise. And the Devils, very average play in the East. I like the $1.30 on Winnipeg last night. $1.40, you're starting to stretch it. Boston gave up a touchdown to Buffalo earlier in the week. But this would be a small lean to the Winnipeg Jets at $1.40 on that one. Going to Tampa. Good game. Lightning, Kings. We're taking under 5.5 at a even money price would be the way I would lean. Yeah, you could be concerned that this plays more to the style of the Lightning, but we know how the Kings want to play. If this gets to 6, it's an auto at 6, even if it's at minus 120. But 5.5 still should be okay at even money. A good enough price on that one. Islanders and Flyers. So I thought the opening number was off here, where Flyers second of a back-to-back, they got stomped. I know it's not a hard trip. Just get on the bus or go a few paces to Newark, Penn, and take the train back to 30th Street for Philly. But second of a back-to-back, Islanders fresh. I thought this should have been at the number it's at right now. $1.10 last night was great. They're kind of stretching it now on the Islanders, but this comes back down the ladder at all. I would lean with the Islanders. There's not a good spot on the Flyers on the back-to-back there. And then here in town, the last one I want to touch, how high is too high on Columbus? Is there a point where we can hop in on Columbus? I think that number's plus 270 if we get there. I don't think we will. Vegas has fallen out of first place in the Pacific. They lost in an overtime game earlier this week to Dallas after a really nice win over the weekend against Florida. Columbus is just one of those teams that is just probably not going to fully get respected in the betting markets until it's too late, right? I mean, they're still kind of treated as this below average team. I don't think they're below average by any stretch. Those young guys, Dwayne brought it up last week. Those young guys are really starting to play well. I'm getting there. Another 20 cents, you can really start looking at the Blue Jackets as a potential money line play. You'd even take the $1.50 if you want, if you hit even money. Don't mind that on Columbus. All right, that's what I got for you here today. This is not the only thing that's going to come on this station today. It won't be live, but be on the lookout, please. We'll hit it on social media at Sports by the Book, at SoPo Studio LV as well on Twitter, at my handle at Jeff Parles, as you see on the bottom. The one and only Iron Eagle will join me later in the day today. We will talk Super Bowl. We'll talk some hoops. We'll talk it all with Iron Eagle. It will be a recorded show, so be on the lookout on the Sports by the Book YouTube page where you're watching right now. One of the best to do it in the business at the play-by-play. Iron Eagle, we'll talk to him later in the day. He'll be, as soon as it's ready to go, it'll be right on this channel, so be on the lookout for that. Set a notification for the channel itself for new videos, and it will pop when it is ready. All right, big thanks to everyone who watched. Big thanks to Vince, Ryan, and Sean, as always, making sure I'm somewhat in order here this morning. What was that? Frenzy tomorrow, of course. Yeah, I know. We got Kenny tomorrow as well at 9. We got Football Frenzy at 3. Myself, Vinny Magliulo, Chris Andrews. This prop sheet will be, if it's not 100% finished, will be pretty darn close. Chuck's coming tomorrow? I didn't realize he was coming tomorrow. I thought he was coming next week. Chuck Esposito will join us on Friday. That'll be good. In studio, right? All right. Very good. Well, that's great. I thought he was next week. It's good that he's this week, though. Help us along. Jimmy will be in as well. All right. That's all we got. We'll see you tomorrow at 9 and 3 right here on the channel, Sports by the Book, South Point Studio.